Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Got 3 NBA games here on Tuesday in the playoffs. I'm going to be kicking it off with an episode here about the Bucks and the Pacers. Also have an episode up about the second game, the Grizzlies and the Thunder. Don't yet have the other one, the third game there, the Lakers and the Timberwolves, but looking to get one up there in the morning for you guys, breaking down each of these games individually for the rest of the postseason, I should say. So definitely make sure to subscribe to that channel. Don't miss any of the matchup data and insights that you need to get your bets down as well. I'm going to go through how I did on Sunday. We're still rolling through the Monday night games here, but I'm definitely winning money here on Monday night. Worst we could do, I believe, is 5-3 for about +2 units right now as we hit some plus money bets. Sunday, lost 0.7 units. I'm never going to cry about losing juice here. A couple of these bets were really small units that we lost. That kind of helps. Plus, we had some plus money hitters that we got as well to help us really keep the losses down here. 6 and 8, still up 42.7 units. That's going to look way better after Monday night as well. As I mentioned here, going to win at least a couple of units back here on Monday. So still going to be up really nicely on the season and in the playoffs, I should mention as well. Sizzling hot still, up more than 10 units now in the playoffs as we roll through. So feeling good about how we're breaking down these matchups. Going to go into that in just one sec. Quick run through the wins. I'm not as worried about. I will say J-Dub 4.5 boards. We're not getting that again in this series, especially. It's up to 5.5 now for the game on Tuesday night. Not sure if we'll be going that direction. Tyler Hero on the threes. 2.5 in this series. He's going to need to be big. He's going to need to do a lot. So for the Miami starters, that's going to be the takeaway from that game. Miami starters, we can rely on big minutes from like Mitchell, Wiggins, Hero, and Bam. Everywhere else, I'm not feeling as confident that we can rely on minutes from those guys. Talk about that more in a sec. Pritchard on the dimes. I mean, that's too low for plus money. I don't care who they're playing, and they didn't blow them out right away, but they pulled away, did the Celtics, in the second half in the third quarter against the Magic, and that really helped us cash the Pritchard bet, but he had 2 assists in the first half. So you're giving us this for plus money. He's basically a 3-assist-a-night guy if he's getting 25 minutes, and he's definitely a part of this rotation in the playoffs big time, right? Like one of the first guys off the bench, and will continue to be a big role player and just, a player, like role player, not bench player, role player, right, for this Celtics squad. Looking at Davion, this is not going to be low like this continuously, but I'm still at like 17.5 PA. Still not feeling too bad about it, like 16.5. If we're in that range and it goes up a couple, I'm still probably good with an over for a guy playing a ton of minutes and will continue to be basically the third or fourth most important guy on the team. For Jimmy, it's playoff Jimmy time, man. And the Rockets, this is a good series for him, in part because it's a bad series for Steph, right? Steph did inhumane things on a basketball court on Sunday night to help him to even like keep that game, his numbers good, and then to take that victory. But Jimmy was doing it from the start until the end, and he's just doing it with being better than the guys guarding him. It's plain and simple. He's not getting the Amon Thompson matchup. Steph is getting it. So he's a good look to keep going over. And then Jabari Smith, we'll probably see this up at 10 or 11.5. He got next game. He got 11 in this last game. Felt good about the bet going into it. He didn't play that well, but we can also look at him on the rebounds, to be honest. And he is going to keep getting big minutes as he seems to be a better play for Udoka than Tari Eason. So I'll keep liking Jabari a little bit more than Tari in this series. Looking at the Scottie Pippen bets, like anything that you see here from that Memphis game, that was on me for just going in too hard on the Memphis game without like taking into consideration that the Thunder have beaten this team all 5 times now, and they won the season series 4-0, averaging an 18-point margin of victory. So now they've got a 22-point margin of victory on average or whatever in 5 games after a 51-point blowout in game 1. So nothing to do there. With Santi, Edie, Scotty, all 3 of those bets, and 4, if you take the 2 Scotty bets, including the alt line there, all of those bets were just dead in the water. Interestingly, we're going to talk about Edie in that other video for Memphis in game 2, because he still had an incredible game, despite the fact that he could only get 20 minutes because his team was never even in the game. Then looking at Porzingis, he just had a horrible game, the 17.5 points for Zinger. He was still out there a ton. I don't know if we should be taking too many overs in general in this series, as I don't think it's going to be a very close series for the Celtics and the Magic there. So we got to be a little bit more, temper ourselves with the overs that we want to take for stars and the good players on the Celtics right now. DeAndre Hunter, I'm out. I'm just out. I've never seen him in the playoffs, and I don't want to start betting on him now. 11.5 points was low. He was non-existent and then stopped shooting after he missed a couple. He might go over next game. He might get 11, 12 points. I'm not going to hold my breath for a 15-plus point outing from DeAndre Hunter, not especially when we've got Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland playing near perfect basketball, especially Donnie, like he did in the last game. Then, yeah, there's not much to be said for a guy like DeAndre Hunter getting his. You just can't rely on the usage for him. Wiggins, over 17.5 points. He kind of turned back into Wiggins that was just really inconsistent, wasn't really taking the shots. I mean, he wasn't too inefficient from the floor. He just wasn't taking the shots. And Cleveland really took this game by the reins and just kind of rode it to the end. Basically, they led for pretty much the whole way. There was a couple little comebacks by the Heat, but Wiggins wasn't helpful, and he's too timid of a player. I don't know if we can really depend on him in a series that shouldn't be that close either if Cleveland's playing on offense the way that they did in game one. And then slow-mo, just what I said at the top, like I'm not trusting backups at all. Bench players, anybody coming off the bench that's not Davion Mitchell, essentially, not sure I can trust them. Like Duncan Robinson had a good game. Kyle Anderson had a terrible game. He didn't even play. He played 6 minutes, didn't play in the second half. I don't know when Spo is going to go to his bench and choose this guy over that guy, right? I think Haywood Highsmith is probably good for most of the series as one of the best defenders. Other than that, there's nobody on the bench besides he and for sure Davion that's coming off the bench for the Heat that I want to touch on. But I will say another nice night here on Monday night as well. Just one little hiccup on Sunday. First losing night in about a week. Feeling really good about these playoffs because we've really got a nice system going. Going to get into that in a minute, but if you do want to jump into the VIP, get all the plays that we've got, check out the description of the video for the link that'll take you right to the WAP.com store, and then you can use code YOFS25. That gets you 50% off your first 3 months. I got to shout out a couple guys. Hananat Hannah and Buddy Irons are bringing a bunch of great looks to the MLB stuff. Hananat Hannah, 7 and 2 today, or excuse me, one at least 7.2 units is what I mean here in the MLB today. Really appreciate those guys' looks that they're bringing. Plus, you have access to me and the chat and everything. So hope to see you guys in the VIP. But let's get into everything that we've got here for Tuesday in this Bucks and Pacers game. Let's get into the game one notes real quick. And most importantly for game two, we've got Dame questionable. He might play. I'm really not banking on him playing, but I'm also not banking on him performing if he does play. So there's no way I'm going to be betting on Dame. I'll tell you that. And I'm actually going to be probably looking for some bets in this game that help me get ahead of an out tag for him. Because even if he's in, I just don't think he's going to be the same player. And other guys we'll talk about are going to have to step up for the Bucks. I still don't think they're long for the series. But if you look at the first game, Kuzma was an all-time awful. Minus 24 in 21 minutes. He had what we call I think 21 trillion because he had 21 followed by 6 zeros of nothing on his box score there. So nice 21 trill for Kuzma. I don't know why you'd give him more minutes. I don't know why you would trade Chris Middleton for him, though. So maybe you do give him more minutes, but just awful stuff from the Bucks here. If I was Giannis, I'd be like, you gave up Middleton for freaking Slim Shady over here, who just can't even hit the Bronx side of a barn. Bucks were 9 for 37 from 3-point. That's just, you're not going to win. And I mean, maybe we get more AJ Green in this game, but you got to switch something up here. It's just awful for them. And I don't know why they would start to shoot better. This Pacers team is just amazing, limiting 3-point stuff. And they're amazing, limiting transition as well. So the interesting thing here for the Bucks to take away, though, this lineup of Giannis, Bobby Portis, AJ Green, Gary Trent, and KPJ. Those 5 guys on the floor together were a +4, which was by far the best for any 5-man lineup out there. Brolo was horrible. Kuzma was worse. So I just don't know who's going to get the minutes in this one as much for Milwaukee. But I would imagine that we're going to see a lot more of this lineup here, which was the only one that seemed to work, as Milwaukee starters, when they were on the floor together, were a -15 in 17 minutes of action. Spells the game right there for you, right? So I do think we're going to see some subs come in for Milwaukee in this game. But again, a lot of these Milwaukee bets are going to depend on what happened with Dame. Not much to note here in terms of the matchups, but there is at least one thing that was different from what the expectation was before game one. With the Bucks on offense, we're looking at Nembhard guarding Rollins. That's the only difference. Halliburton on Prince, Nembhard on Rollins. I thought Nembhard would be on Prince. It really doesn't matter, honestly. Neither of those guys in terms of Prince or Rollins did much at all, and both of them are super dependent on catch and shoot stuff, so I don't think either of them are going to have a good game, although I would always rather bet on the guy that Halliburton is guarding rather than Nembhard. I will say that. And then when we saw the backup lineups come in there with like Kuzma out, Brolo in, and all that kind of stuff, the matchups do switch up a little bit. They took Siakam off of Giannis for a lot of this. He ended up guarding Bobby Portis, and then Giannis was on guarding like Nesmith. Sometimes he was on Turner, but it was a lot more like Pascal on Portis when we saw the Bobby Poe minutes come in for them. So something to keep in mind that Bobby Poe, Siakam, he might get off of Giannis. The only thing to keep in mind there is if Siakam's not guarding Giannis, I like him on rebounds a lot more, but I don't know if I can really bank on that. I know he'll still start out on Giannis, in which case I don't like rebounds for him in a bad spot to get them. Other side of the ball, only thing to mention is that Prince is on Nembhard and Rollins is on Halliburton. And I think Doc doesn't care, right? Both these teams are like Halliburton, Rollins, great. Prince, Nembhard, whatever, doesn't matter. They're just having these guys sort of interchange when they try to screen for each other. But just it's important to know that Prince is on Nembhard, Rollins is on Hallie, and Nembhard kind of cooked Prince in this last game. We're going to get into that here in just right now. As we get into the props that I'm looking at here for Tuesday, definitely want to make sure to jump into Props Madness if you don't yet have it. This is the #1 sports betting research tool for all things NBA and for the WNBA. When we get into the ladies in the summertime, it's like super efficient, just a one-stop shop. You don't really need to go to any other websites to get exactly what you need here. So if you do want to jump in, use code LYB. That'll get you 25% off your first month. You can also use that code to get a 7-day free trial. See if you like it out as you get into the platform. First guy we're talking about for just 1 sec is Pascal Siakam. I should mention though, like big caveat with all these plays. One, I don't have anything down. Betting the day of the games, not the night before, as much as I can to avoid getting noticed by the books, who will notice when you bet early and continuously get really good closing line value. But for Pascal, the caveat here is if they blow him out, it's tough to keep betting over on his points. But the points is where I'd go here. Last game, we bet on the threes, and I know some of you are probably going to ask me about that again because it was a beautiful plus 146 that we hit for Pascal to hit 2 threes, and he got that in the first quarter of that last game. Well, now it's at minus 146, and I don't know the last time I've seen something shift from plus 146 to $1 worse at minus. Like, I just don't know that I can remember the last time that's happened. That's actually way worse than $1. That's like $2.83 worse, right? So this is a big shift here. I can't go to over 1.5 at minus 146. A big part of that bet was based on this being close to even money, if not at least flat, like minus 115 or minus 110. That's not going to be the case. I'd rather go to the points. It's really just a hit rate merchant thing for him and a playoff player as well. But if you look at him head to head against this team this season alone, it speaks for itself. 24 a game, and we're still getting him at 20.5 points in this one. If you look at the playoffs from last season, don't even need to just look at head-to-head. Just look at the playoffs last season. Enough of these games, he's at 21.6. If he's going to consistently need 21 points to get his prop, it's a good bet against a team that he did this really well against until he just kind of faded at the end. But in the first 2 games especially, 36, 37 points, I still think that's something that we can, somewhat marginally rely on for Pascal in this series. So I want to go over on the points. The thing I want to see here is, one, is this still at 20.5 tomorrow? Because if it's at 21.5, I'm out. And if it is at 20.5, like, can we get any kind of, I need to know what's up with Dame is really what it comes down to, because I just don't think this team has a chance in this series without Dame. I don't really think they have a chance with Dame. So I need to see what his health is, because if he is coming out and they're saying, oh, he looks great and he's ready to play, all right, cool. Then maybe there's a chance we can bet on Pascal, because this game isn't just a runaway for the Pacers. As we run into this next bet here, go ahead and give the video a like if you have not yet done so. Really hoping that you guys are getting stuff out of these matchups and the way that I'm breaking down the playoff games for you, because now it's just game to game, right? So really hoping you're getting something out of this stuff. And a like goes a really long way to show that appreciation. So much appreciated on my end as well. I'm going to get into the next guy I really like here. I kind of owe a little bit of an apology to Andrew Nembhard. I wasn't talking trash on Nembhard by any means, but I was a little bit nervous that maybe Benny Matz or Benedict Mathurin was going to come in and take some points from him, because last season in the playoffs when Nembhard went crazy and was awesome and averaged like 15 points a night last year in the playoffs, he didn't have Benny Matz coming in to like try to take any minutes from him, who's also a good defender. Problem is, and I'm looking at last year in the playoffs here, right? 15 a game, like I said, without Benny Matz. But the problem with that logic was Benny Matz doesn't cut into Nembhard. Nembhard is the defensive soul of this team. And if Dame is out there, it's only going to mean more minutes for Nemby. But I mean, if you look at him this season in the playoffs, he had this one game, 17 points in just 29 minutes. He had 8 in the first quarter, and he does that a lot. He comes out and he's sort of the first guy to get going for this Pacers team. He and Siakam kind of lead that first quarter touches and shot attempts and all that. So I do continue to like Nembhard in this one. He's just a killer in the playoffs against really good defenses. I mean, the Bucks will give him a not great defense, just bad last year. But then the Knicks and the Celtics, he still went over the majority of the time. Now he's still at like 15 points per game in the playoffs. It's just that simple. This is not a good defense for the Bucks right now, but this is strictly just Nembhard showing up in a different way in the playoffs. And in 29 minutes is a low for him in this last game. If this is at all close, once again, we should be expecting even more minutes from Nembhard. It's going to be hard to bet on any Bucks players without knowing if Dame is going to play or not. But as we scroll down to them, some of the logic I'm using here is, who can we get ahead of that maybe if Dame does not play will have some pretty good numbers, right? And so I do think that guy is Gary Trent. If we look at him on the regular season, right, he's at 11 points per game already. Let's make sure, though, that we look at him in the games with Giannis and Dame where he's playing. And let's put Kuzma out there too, whatever. With Kuzma as well, he's still at 12 a game, right? And we're getting this at him needing 10 for us to get nearly even money, minus 105 in some spots. You can get minus 110 on Bet365. These are good numbers for Gary Trent, who, like I said, is basically an 11, 12 point a night guy, regardless of who's out there with him. And if Dame doesn't play, well, then it's even better, right? If we're talking about without Dame, with Giannis and Antetokounmpo, with Giannis and Kuzma out there. That's basically the same. But if the shot attempts go up a bit, he's better in this situation than on the season in general, right? And if he's at about 12 points in these situations, man, I just can't pass up him needing 10. Plus, again, we get the added potential value of Dame not playing and then Gary Trent getting a few more minutes. They're just too in need of offense right now. So I think you're going to continue to see Gary out there shooting that thing. Probably another 25 or so minutes like he saw in his last game, 27. 2 for 7 from 3 as well. Not a great percentage. Has a lot of room for improvement in a lot of ways. So really liking the points at a nice even 10 for him in game 2. I almost went ahead without touching upon TJ McConnell. Need to at least get in some stuff about him because I love the number. And I've been asked about this in the VIP. People were talking about this in the chat earlier today, already trying to get ahead of TJ McConnell. The thing about McConnell is he's not a guy that you see him get more time, more stats when it's a blowout. He's not this garbage time guy. Just because he's the backup point guard doesn't mean he plays garbage time. He's like 40 or whatever. I mean, it's like mid-30s, right? He's been in the league forever at this point. So he's not exactly a guy they want to just give minutes to when he doesn't need to play. In this last one, he played 15 minutes, had 11 points, right? And 5 dimes. He's awesome. I still like him if he plays even 15 minutes. This isn't a bad number, but I want to just caution people from assuming that because they are likely to blow out or at least beat the Bucks handily again, that TJ McConnell is just in line for a bunch of minutes. And here's how you can prove that on Props Madness. You can go to won by or lost by, and you can filter that to see, well, how does he do in games where they blow the other team out? So if we do look at that, let's say they win by at least 10 points. Does anything happen for him in these games, right? And let's make it reasonable. I don't think they're winning by 53. Let's say the 10 to 20, right? This is not an increase in his PA on the season. Even if we give him the 21 games, he's at fewer points and assists per game in this situation where they win by 10 to 20 than when they're just on all the games in general, right? So the 13.8 number that he has on the season isn't necessarily indicative of what's going to happen in a blowout. And I don't think we should give him a bump in projection because of a blowout, right? That's my main point. In fact, if you look at the minutes for him on the season, let me go back to advanced filters, pull up the minutes. He's at 17 minutes per game when they win by 10 to 20 points. He's at 18 per game on the season as a whole, right? So that tells you what you need to know right there. He's not getting more minutes in garbage time. He's still just going to play his normal like 16 to 20, anywhere in that range. And when he does, he's probably still good for the points and the assists, or I probably prefer just the points, which at 6.5, man, I just can't believe they're not raising this thing. There's nobody to guard him on the second unit for this Bucks squad. Just going to continue to love his stuff. He got guarded by Kevin Porter Jr., who's awesome on offense, not on defense. Don't forget, if you do want to jump into the VIP, not miss any of the plays that I'm putting down, use code YOFFS25, gets you 50% off your first 3 months. So take us right through the end of the playoffs. Looking to build on these 10 units that we've already made since the start of the play-in tournament. So until I see y'all next, happy betting.